Well, good evening, members. Welcome to this evening's meeting of the Scrutiny Committee of Place and Environment. Item number 1 on the agenda is to note substitutes in accordance with Committee Procedure Rule 4. I think we're all present and correct with no substitutes. Item 2, to receive apologies for absence. None. Thank you very much for attending, and thank you, Councillor Gibson, for attending on behalf of Cabinet. Item 3, to receive declarations of interest from members in respect of any matter on the agenda. Please indicate via your microphone unit if you've got any declarations of interest. No. We have none. So item 4, to be agreed by general affirmation, the minutes of the previous meeting held on the 18th July 2024. They are in the packs. Please could members verbally say agreed if they're happy with those. Agreed? Agreed. Those meetings are agreed. Item 5, to consider any items that the Chairman agrees to take as urgent business. I have none. So, item 6, Sustainable Economy Strategy and Action Plan Refresh. We've got the report in front of us in respect of plan, which will be our 3-year plan, and I'm going to ask Judy Holmes, the Deputy Chief Executive in the first instance, to talk through the report. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. I'm not going to say very much about this. It's a very self-explanatory report, I think. It basically sets out the proposed approach to refreshing the Council's Sustainable Economic Strategy, which some of you anyway will recall was adopted by the Council in 2022 as a 3-year strategy. The preparation of the strategy at that time was overseen by a cross-party member working group drawn from the Scrutiny Committee. At the time of adopting the strategy, the Council agreed that because this is a relatively dynamic field of work, that we would fix an action plan for 3 years on the basis that the Council were keen to see this work develop and progress. We have provided an update to the delivery of the action plans in years 1 and 2. Appendix 2 gives you a summary of the delivery of action plan year 2. We're currently in the 3rd year and in the process of delivering the actions in the 3rd year. As a consequence of the fact that it's a relatively short action plan in terms of 3 years, we are proposing that the focus of the refresh is primarily on updating the action plan and ensuring that in the future the actions will deliver against the strategy. The committee are therefore asked to convene a cross-party member working group to oversee this work and report back to this committee. The terms of reference of the working group can be found at Appendix 1 and are also commented on in paragraphs 17 and 18. We're happy to answer any questions. I've got officers here to support that. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Judy. And thank you for the contents report and a very impressive list of things that we've tried to achieve through the report and the action plan. And I know it was quite a bold plan than when we set it up 2 years ago. So thank you very much for the update. Have we got any questions from committee members? Councillor Zeidler, please.
Yes. Going on. Thank you very much for this. I'd just like to clarify, in case I got it wrong, I looked at the appendix that was provided and it looked to be the report from the first year and not an up-to-date report. Now, there was an exceptionally good, I would say, report made in the 18th of October 23, which did provide a full update of where we were against all the action plans and indeed the metrics, which I remember well and I thought was an excellent piece of work and a great piece to develop on. But I'm not clear that that has been provided, and if it has, or I've missed it, I apologise. If it hasn't, I think it would be very helpful to provide the context for this committee to understand exactly how limited the refresh is and progress, although you have commented on it, because we can't really see where we are. would be my first observation. It would have been helpful. And the second point is, because again, within this, we're saying we need to go and have a look at the refresh of the objectives. One of the key underpinning documents for the district profile, of course, is the West Sussex economic reset plan, I think they call it, which is due to end this year, or it goes to 24. And clearly, if that is going to vary in any way, significantly, that might significantly affect our objectives. So the second question was whether we had some confidence that that was going to be a reasonably stable refresh that this working group, if it's delegated to, can go and engage with.
Like, if I may, I'll go to Judy, and I know Judy has some other officers obviously supporting as well as may need to be the case. Thank you, Judy.
Taking your first point first, no, I can confirm that Appendix 2 does indeed contain a summary of the actions delivered in Year 2 of the strategy, certainly in my pack. You're right, it is a summary, and the reason it is a summary is because it was agreed that we would not bring reports to this committee for noting, but there is a detailed progress report on that, which we could provide, but certainly will be provided to the working group as part of the work that we'll be doing. The second part of your question, you're quite right that there is a absolute raft of strategies, profiles, information that will form the evidence base that will inform the work of the working group and indeed the refresh subsequently to that. One of them, you're right, is the West Sussex work. So you'll be aware that West Sussex, that the LEP, the Local Economic Partnership, has now terminated, and the functions have passed to West Sussex. And West Sussex are establishing a West Sussex economic strategy. We have been involved in that work at the most senior level downwards, and we've all been engaging with it. And we will be most certainly taking account, A, of their evidence base, which was commissioned from Metro Dynamics, and B, the draft economic strategy that is emerging. And we will be dovetailing our work with theirs, so I can assure you that that will be taken into account, as indeed will loads of other things, such as our draft district plan review document, the net zero action plans that we commissioned as part of this strategy, any government strategies that are currently emerging. So there will be a lot of evidence that will be considered in the development of the action plan, and will actually inform that action plan.
Would you like to come back, Councillor Seidler?
If I may,
yes.
Thank you, Chair. First, just to clarify, Judy, I absolutely saw the summary. It was the detailed plan that we did actually get as a scrutiny committee in October, which is what I had been looking for, because it allows you to actually see exactly what the progress, what the action items are and so on, which isn't included, only the summary is included. So it just would have been a bit helpful. But I'm glad and I'm sure we will get visibility of it. And just on the second point, I mean, I think that's, I'm very conscious of exactly how many things there are that will feed in. And most of them, obviously the LEP plans, which will be West Sussex will develop on, were running to 2030. It was just the fact that the West Sussex one was going to run out of time. If government policy arrives and changes quickly enough to affect us in the next 2 months, without our having any view on that, I guess that will be a real challenge. So that was really the one. All the others, I think we have good visibility on, and I'm entirely comfortable that you and your colleagues will ensure that we're informed. I'm just worried about the waterfall of information that's about to land. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Seidler. Councillor Henwood, your
Thank you. Yeah, am I
name was
speaking?
on the list. Yeah.
Well, how many councillors have we got, Chairman?
In the council, 48.
No, how many councillors in the district council? Are there 48?
Yeah.
So my question is, and this has come up before, that out of 48 councillors, why would this working party be restricted to only the 12 members here? That's my first question. And whose decision has that been, that the working party and other working parties are only taken from the particular? Is that in our rules and regulations?
I think it's standard practice, but perhaps one of the officers would just like to clarify. Thank you, Kath.
So I'll try and help with that a little bit. It's the work programme for both scrutiny committees is a dynamic process that is being discussed actively with the chairman and vice chairman. And so they are seeing the work planned out. And if a scrutiny committee is being charged with a responsibility here to refresh an action plan, it clearly can't do it in a setting like this. It needs to have a working group. And so the Constitution provides for a working group drawn from this committee because it's this committee's responsibility to review the action plan. So that's why. Does that help? I know you don't agree, but just explain it.
Yeah, I just feel it is so limiting, and we've had this problem in the past that we have a lot of talented councillors, and some will be very restricted because depending on when the meetings are held, of course, if they're in the daytime, that will be more restrictive.
Yeah.
So I'm just trying to broaden the whole approach and information for not just us, but for all the councillors. Thank you, though. I can't fight against it, so thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Henwood. Yeah, no, I think for working groups that were delegated by this committee, it needs to be formed of members from this committee. Any other comments from other members? Okay, well, with thanks for all the work, and I know that the working group members will look forward to seeing the more details of the strategy results and some of the actions which might need refreshing. We've got recommendations in front of us in paragraph 5. The Scrutiny Committee is asked to establish a cross-party, politically balanced members' working group to support the progression of the Sustainable Economic Strategy refresh. Can we vote on that, please, using the buttons on our microphones? Thank you. Thank you. So that's unanimously approved. Thank you, members, for that. And we look forward to receiving reports from the working group in due course. And I know we will try to take account of people's availability to ensure maximum attendance at that working group. Item 7. We have the Scrutiny Committee work programme for the rest of the year and looking at what might configure beyond. We've got some recommendations in front of us to confirm that work programme. I know we've also been keen to try to build in a bit of flexibility with new governments and such other developments as might mean we need to flex in terms of the work programme. But I'm going to hand to Louise Duffield to comment on the report in front of us. Thank you.
Thank you, John. You've mainly highlighted the point that I was going to make. So, as was alluded to earlier, we've worked with the chairs and vice chairs across the 2 scrutiny committees to look at a programme for the year, but to recognise that other things may come up. And the report also just reminds us of the other tools that scrutiny have. Working groups, one of them, and the way in which you can make a request to chairs for things to be added to that programme. But hopefully the report's self-explanatory. Thank you.
Thank you, Louise. And I know in terms of 2 of the upcoming reports with green spaces and the leisure strategy, and they've been purposefully chosen to be at those times so that we can get the best output of data for those to make the meetings, the scrutiny debate more rich in terms of its content. And I know some members will look forward to those. As you say, I note the programme request, which has not been used, I don't think, yet, but should any member wish to do so, then they're welcome to. I'm going to take questions or comments from the committee. Councillor Henwood, please.
Thank you, Chairman. I'm just wondering, I know there's playground review, the tiers, et cetera, tier 4, tier 3. When will the playground, I'm not too sure if it's under green spaces or leisure, the playground analysis be presented, please?
Thank you, Councillor Henwood. I'm going to pass you over to Simon Hughes for this one. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, as part of the Green Spaces contract, we'll include progress on the parks master plans and the work that we have on tier 4s. As you'll recall from when we previously took that to scrutiny, that is a long-term programme.
I'm not really deaf, but I find it very hard to hear. I don't know, Simon, I hate to ask you to repeat yourself, but I could not really hear.
Okay. That
Thank you.
forms, my apologies, that does form part of the Green Spaces audit report, and as you may recall, the Parks Master Plan and the work that we're doing on those spaces is a longer term strategy, so we can update you in that report.
Councillor Zeidler.
Thank you, Chair. Just again, previously we looked at inviting UK Power Networks to come and discuss the ability to provide services to new homes. And apologies if I missed a scrutiny committee where it was discussed, but that clearly is an important issue and was one that we did have on the agenda. Is that still under consideration?
Thank you. I will pass over to an officer, but what I would say is myself and Councillor Bergreen, my vice chair, same with the other chairs and vice chairs, we have had sort of wider discussions about what topics are suitable for briefing notes, what topics are suitable for committee discussions, what might be member workshops, what might be wider council discussions. So if something's not coming forward through these channels, it's still under consideration for coming under one of those other wider channels, and I'm sure it has not been forgotten about, and perhaps following this meeting we can just come back to you on the specifics in terms of any particular organisations and sort of where we've got to in our thinking with those, if that's all right with yourself, Councillor Zeidler. Thank you. Any other comments from members? No? In which case, we've got the recommendations in front of us. We've got 3 recommendations set out in paragraph 1 of the report to confirm the proposed work programme. Secondly, to note those alternative approaches by which we might receive information. And thirdly, to note the process for individual members requesting further topics to be considered. Can we use our microphone units again to vote on those recommendations? Thank you. So we've got, again, unanimous approval for those recommendations. So thank you very much, committee. This is quite a brief meeting in which we've unanimously voted on the items, which, as we know, is not always the case, but very grateful when that opportunity does occur. Item 8, questions pursuant to Council Procedure Rule 10.2, due notice which has been given. We have none. And that does actually conclude our business for the evening. So thank you very much for the input and comments, and wish everyone a good rest of the evening. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.